Winter is coming. Well, hello, welcome back to Tale 3 Cabins. Leaves are falling off the trees. We still have a little bit of color up there to change, but for the most part, we've had our first freeze down here and things are going to start happening rapidly. Usually the last couple of years, fall is like a light switch. 1 week it's 80 degrees and the next it's 40s and rain and dreariness. So I thought I would go over my routine of the things that I try to take care of, and I try to take care of before winter sets in. Number one is the RV. We just got done using that about a week or so ago. We can clean out the tanks ourselves here with our septic tank. So I clean out the black tank really good, flush that out. Also the gray tank. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but I do use air compressor and I blow out the black tank flush line just to make sure all the water has gone out into the black tank, out my sewer hose and into the septic. When I winterize the RV, I usually do not fill my water lines with antifreeze. In fact, I've never done it yet. I just blow them out with air. I have a compressor that I use, a small pancake compressor, and I'm able to dial down the pressure of that compressor to somewhere around 40 to 50 pounds. So you're not going to blow apart any of your fixtures or ruin any pumps, stuff like that. Typically it's pretty easy. This year I decided to just take one of my power stations over there instead of running a power cord. I put everything up on the bucket of the tractor, and that way I have my pancake compressor there, the power station, keep it nice and close. I didn't have to run any extension cords or worry about running a long air hose. And basically I start out with a little device that I bought on Amazon. It fits right into your compressor connection, and then the other end is like a garden hose connection which goes into the city input of your RV. Make sure the main pump is shut off for the RV, the one that runs on 12 volt. And then I just open up lines one by one. Usually start out with the farthest line, toilet, and then the shower, and then the kitchen sink, and of course the bathroom sink. I flush all that out. Also there is a outdoor shower that I flush out. And then I disconnect that temporarily and I turn on the pump to make sure that I pump out any residual water that might be stored inside of the pump. And then I go ahead and blow it out again. For a second time. And then I'll do the tank fill to make sure all the water is out of whatever line goes into the tank fill. I disconnect the shower head and make sure that that line is drained, and then I leave everything on. So all the water faucets are on, everything's on basically except for the toilet. Take about a gallon of RV antifreeze, put them in the traps, trap for the kitchen sink, the trap for the bathroom, and then the trap for the shower. Usually when I winterize, I only need about a gallon at the most of RV antifreeze. And the reason I really don't want to pump antifreeze into the water lines, we kind of run by the seat of our pants when it comes to RVing. So we don't really have any trips planned per se, but you never know. A month from now, we could get an invitation to go somewhere or do something. Maybe we're going to take the RV with us and we'll just get up and go. We do have plans to use it sometime in the winter, but we don't know when just yet. Once that is all done, then we take all the paper products out, the toilet paper, anything that mice would want to make a nest with. Anything that's going to stay in the RV stays into a large Tupperware container. So we do keep our sheets and stuff like that in the RV, comforters. We don't want to store those in the house just because of the room that it takes up. So we put all of that in a plastic storage container. Usually set it on top of the bed. We remove any liquids, any water bottles, water jugs, soaps, shampoos, anything that gives off an odor that may attract mice. Lastly, I make sure that the water tank itself is drained. There is a spigot on the bottom, and this RV takes a long time if there's any significant amount of water in there. We have a 300 amp hour battery. It sits outside in a battery case behind the propane tanks, and in the last couple of years I haven't even bothered to take that into the house. They are lithium ion phosphate batteries. If the temperature is going to go to minus 15 or minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, then I would consider taking the battery out. But last year I left it in there all year. I checked on the battery level maybe midwinter and I was good to go. And just prior to our trip, plugged in the RV and charged everything and topped it all off. I have a lot of lithium ion phosphate batteries, so they primarily just stay outside all winter or in the pole barn here. Speaking of pole barn, let's talk about that. As the year progresses, I don't know if you remember when I first built the pole barn and started filling it up with all my implements and attachments, started to organize things and putting things up on shelves. My main goal was to not have to move anything out of the way to get to something, that I could get to it directly. And right now, I am not meeting that goal. It's been a pretty busy year, and a lot of stuff just gets thrown to the side here. If we're taking an RV trip, I grab a bunch of stuff over here, and then I have stuff that I just pitch over here. And then if we're back from the RV trip, I pitch all that stuff towards the back. I stuck the log splitter here temporarily, just while we were out of town, but this needs to be put back into place. We're in a little bit of a disarray here, and I thought I would just go over how I want to get this situated before winter sets in, because I want to be able to get to my plow and just go directly to it. There's a few implements that I like to use in the wintertime, or that I'll need to use in the wintertime. So I want to keep those with quick and easy access. And right now, that is not the case. My backhoe is back there. It's been off since, I believe, June or July. I've had a little issue with my backhoe cart, and the backhoe right now is tilted pretty good. And I think I'm going to have an issue trying to get it off of the cart this time. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle. I'll let you see how that works out. But I need to rearrange things here. I definitely got to use the assistance of JD to get some heavier things up on shelves and move things out of the way and get them a little bit better organized. I'll let you see that whole process, or at least most of that process, as I go through it. And then we'll talk about a few other things that I do in preparation for winter. I put the brush hog on usually in the late summer, and then I keep it on until early fall. So I need to take this off so I can get the backhoe back on. I think a lot of the smaller stuff I'm just going to have to carry out and clear out of here, but some of this larger stuff I want to just put it where it's supposed to be. Right now, that's where my snowplow is, and if I had to get to it, I'd have to move this out of the way. The doors for the tractor, I might as well put those on, and I also have my loader hitch down here too in the way, and that will come in handy when I need to move the log splitter out of the way. But let me get those forks on, and let's see if we can at least clear up this area a little bit, and then I'll be able to get to the backhoe and see if I can get that out of there, and then clear up that area a little bit. So I've been storing my sprayer up on the shelf while I was using the little man cage here. Now that I'm done with both, I can store it inside. Now let's see if we can get this cage up and above this, because this is going to be a bit of a project. This is going to be a bit of a chore to level this out and get it back onto the tractor. Okay, so that wasn't horrible. This means that I'm probably going to need to use this next week for some reason. It'll probably be about 9 months before I need to brush hog again, and I just wanted to reposition this a little better and throw some planks underneath it to keep some of the moisture off the rails. So for those of you that have backhoes with your tractor, or those that are thinking about buying a tractor with a backhoe, the 1025R, they show how easy it is to take it on and off with using the outriggers and just backing up to it and hooking right up. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work that way. 1 time out of 10, you might back up perfectly, you get it all hooked up, and it's as quick and easy as they show it in the videos that John Deere has on their website. But most of the time it's very difficult. And I usually use this backhoe cart that I made because the backhoe's on wheels and I can move it around, and I can also line it up a little bit more properly when I want to add the backhoe onto the tractor, and it makes it all the more quicker, and it makes it a little bit more efficient to get it hooked up. So now in this instance here, I had a little cave-in, and looks like I'm going to have to replace parts of my backhoe cart. I'm on such an angle now that if I back up here, I'll never get this thing attached unless I level it out somehow. And I thought, well, maybe I could jack it up with a bottle jack on one side. But I'm going to try to just use this one outrigger. The only drawback to that is that I lose my mobility with this if I wanted to shuffle it around a little bit. So it's going to have to get lined up perfect, and it could take a little while to get this thing hooked up. This is also a little bit of a process, not bad. I don't have to do it that many times a year, but I'll have to take off the quick hitch, and then I'll have to take off the upper and lower arms. Right here. All right, so I'm lined up perfectly. If you look, this one would set into the pin. This one here is too high because of my little cave in here. So I need to raise this up now. Just enough to get it high, huh? I don't know if you can tell, but I shifted again. Just raising up that outrigger shifted everything, so now that my pin will not line up with the tractor, so I got to realign it again, which is a little harder because the hydraulic lines are hooked up now. One more realignment, and I think we're looking good now. Okay, not as bad as I thought. I could have went worse. Sucked up about 10 minutes worth of diesel fumes inside here, but other than that, ruining my cart. I got the backhoe on and we are ready for winter. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. Of course, this is going to have to be replaced. I never really cared for having a 4x4 here. I'm thinking about just putting a 2x4 across it. In fact, I'm thinking about making this a 2x4 and making these 2x4s and see how much strength I get out of it. And it's going to lower this a little bit because this would always have a problem clearing. You can see this has always been chewed up from taking it on and off. But I think I got 7 years out of it, and it cost me about 20 bucks. All right, not too bad, huh? Looks pretty good, huh? Hey, just don't bother looking over. The eyes this way. Never mind that over there. And then lastly, the cooler temperatures is the perfect time to get some of that residual firewood that hasn't been split yet for the upcoming winter. So we ran out of gas, filled it back up, and now we're having an issue trying to get it started. Works. Do it one more time. Don't got much left. I keep meaning to buy another can. You pull on it.
Fuel issue.
Yeah. All right, we decided we needed to do some emergency surgery on the carburetor, but we didn't want to get carried away taking the whole thing off, because that could open a whole nother can of worms that we're not prepared to deal with.
It's gonna leak. You got something to catch it? Or should I tighten it up?
We took the bowl off. We're just going to spray some carburetor cleaner in there, hit the jets, and clean it the best we can and put it back together.
You're finding all that gas. It's so hard to see under here.
I told you winter was coming, and that's just a few things that I do to try to prepare, but it never seems to be enough time. This kind of snuck up on us, this little snow event here. It's not too bad. There's still a lot of leaves on the trees back there, and I think we'll get back to some 40s and 50s for another couple of weeks before we start getting into the seriously cold temperatures. But that is going to do it for today. I appreciate everybody watching. I hope you enjoy and subscribe to these videos. Click on that little bell when you want to know when a new one is coming out, and keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody.